Hi, this is Avar from Scrappy Mania, and today I'm going to create a layout using these papers from Wall Asparagus. And this is from My Mind's Eye. Now, this is an old paper pad, but I want to go ahead and use this for my layout. I'm going to use this photo. I already have a frame, and I'm going to use this photo of my niece. And the layout's it's inspired by this stamp from Prima. And this is one of the Bloom Girls. It's one of the second release of Jamie Doherty. And I really love this one. Her name is Summer. And to me, she looks like my Alex, like my niece. She really looks like her. So I went ahead and stamped her on some paper. Now I wanted to have a real light paper because I want this to kind of melt into the background. I am going to use some mixed media elements in here. I'm going to use a stencil. I'm going to use some paste, modeling paste, and then I went ahead and going to color these and cut these little individual pieces out and just put it on here. And I am going to use this silicone mold, and this is from Plaid, and I'm going to use this to write the word Alex. And I already have some titles. Groovy Girl. I'm going to use this. I got some other little pieces here that I want to use, incorporate it in the layout somehow. I also want to use all my flowers. So I've been creating all these flowers, so I want to meld this into the layout somehow. And I want to give this to my sister as a gift. I'm going to create a shadow box. So I want to give it some dimension. I am going to put it in a shadow frame, and that is going to be fine. You know, I may even give this to my niece. So I just want to create a very pretty layout and give it as a gift. I am going to also incorporate some of my flowers that I create with hot glue. And I've been using, so let me show you what I'm using, because I love the Martha Stewart molds. So I like to buy a lot of all her molds, and then I create little accents here, and I create these with clear glue because I go over it with paint, with glitter, so you can really match the colors to your layout. So I'm going to be doing that. So let me show you some of the molds, and these are some of the molds that I'm going to be using. And these are not, I'm not going to be using this mold, but I just want to show you some of the molds that Martha Stewart has. They're pretty economical, especially if you buy them at Michael's. You get that 40% coupon, and they almost come out to almost nothing. I mean, they're pretty reasonable. And I want to show you real quickly, in case you haven't seen my other tutorial on how I create these elements. What you want to do is you want to get your glue gun very hot. So I have it very hot. And then you're going to pour that glue in your silicone mold. Let me put L. And don't worry about the extra glue that might, some glue strings and stuff like that. You can take those off once it dry. Okay. And then you're going to set this aside to let it dry. Let me see, it needs a little more here. Try to keep it pretty even. You don't want to have any bubbles or anything in the background. So you're going to let this dry, and once it dries, you're just going to pop them off and color them, and they'll be great. They'll look nice. And you can use glitter paint. You can use this metallic rub. There's a lot of different treatments that you can do on these hot glue items, and they do really stay. They don't peel off, and it looks very nice. So I'm going to set this aside. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the paper that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use these two. Now what I want to do is I want to cut this piece out. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to be using the stencil for the background, and I am going to use some sprays also. So the stencil that I'm going to be using is this Tim Holtz, and this is called Bubbles, and then Harlequin. I'm going to use these two stencils. So I'm going to go ahead and place that. So before I do that, let me go ahead, move things aside, and place something to protect my surface. And I'm using this glass bead by Liquitex. This is the first time I use this, so I'm going to go ahead and see how it comes out. And it's always helpful to keep like a little basin of water in your craft room if you don't have a sink handy, and just drop your stencils in there. And that's why I like the, I do like the Tim Holtz because they're nice and small, so they fit perfectly in there. Now I'm going to use a different texture paste for that. I'm going to use modeling paste, so I'm going to just mix those two medium. And now I'm going to go ahead and dry this. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this out, and then I'll come back for the next treatment. And I found these Prima stuff. After I dried my page, I felt like it needed like a border. So I have these edges, and I don't think these are Bo Bunny, I believe. And I sorry that I don't have the names of some of these stamps, because when I store them, I take it out of the container and I put them in these other containers. So I'm using Archival ink to put some distressing edges on my layout, and I'm just gonna frame it out with this stamp, this distressing stamp, and I think it's a Bo Bunny. Here I'm using some of my Glimmer Mist and Heidi Swapp Color Shine, and the colors that I picked were basically pinks, reds, and orange and yellow, because the photo that I have has some red and it does have some dark colors in the background, but I just wanted to use these three colors. Now, I always have issue with the sprayers. They always clog on me. And I was watching some of Tim Holtz videos, and he was saying that to clean the spray nozzle after each use, and that will prevent it from clogging. So I'm going to do that in the future. So here I'm just mounting my page on a sturdy cardstock, because once you start using water and colors and paint, your paper tends to warp. So by putting it on a sturdy cardstock, it keeps it nice and straight. And then I'm just painting with regular acrylic paint my little pieces that I created with hot glue. And I like using clear glue, hot glue, and then just using my paints to give it color, and that way I can match the layout. And here I'm applying some paint with a dry brush just to give it a little more mixed media feel to my page. Now I want to put some gloss on there, so I'm going to use some Mod Podge gloss. And actually, before I put that, I want to put some dark. I wanted that flower to look more like a daisy, so I went ahead and used some green and some white for the center. And now I'm just placing a lot of Mod Podge all over my pieces to just make it shine. So here the doll, I cut this doll earlier and I just placed it with some gel medium, and you didn't see me do that part. And then I'm taking some of my Caran d'Ache, the 15 set, which I really like. And I'm also using a little bit of my skin tone acrylic paint to help blend the watercolor crayons. And here, when you're using your watercolor crayons or paint, you don't have to have a real solid color. Like you can see the hair that I'm placing. Some areas have a little more black crayon, and some areas have less. So it kind of gives it a little high and low tones to your image, and it kind of gives it a little bit of life when you do that. So I wanted to kind of give it a little more dimension, so I went ahead and stamped off some images of the doll, but I basically wanted the flowers and the bee, because I am going to mount these with some mounting foam and place them on the doll just to give it a little dimension. Now this is going to be a gift for my sister, so it's going to be on a shadow box, so I'm not too worried about giving it a lot of depth because it will be fine with the shadow box. And I'm just placing a lot of flowers using my hot glue, and it's coming out pretty nice. I really like this layout. It really came out very nice. And I was inspired by one of the Prima episodes, and where they did take some of the Art Basic medium. They used their crackle paint. They also used their gesso and other medium, and they created a layout similar to this. Now I didn't have the Prima doll, but it was very similar to this, and I really loved how that one came out, and I wanted to create the same one. So here's the finished layout, and I think my sister will really like it. I think she's gonna be very happy with the final product, and I am going to change it a little bit. You'll see in the following pictures. I added a title, Groovy Girl, and I put a little more sparkle around the eyes and some of the embellishments. So I hope you like this layout, and thank you for watching. Bye now.